Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with chapter 4 of your textbook of economics, that is elasticity of demand. And this is the first module of the chapter. Okay, before proceeding with the chapter, you must know the meaning of these two terms, elastic and inelastic. What does these two terms mean? Elastic means changing and inelastic means not changing or less changing. Again, I'm repeating, elastic means there is a lot of change or there is some change. But inelastic means not changing at all, or you can say less changing as well. Okay, we take the example of a rubber band. Suppose this is a rubber band. Okay, if it stretches, you say that the rubber band is elastic, and if it doesn't stretches, you say that it is inelastic. If the rubber band stretches, you say that it is elastic. It means it is changing. If the rubber band does not stretch, you say that it is inelastic or it does not change much. Okay, so when we use the term elastic, it means a lot changing or you can say changing. Inelastic means not changing or less changing. Now we come to the meaning of elasticity of demand. In the last chapter, we have studied about the relationship between demand and price. Okay, we have studied the relationship between demand and price. We have studied that when the price increases, the demand falls. And when the price decreases, the demand increases. We have studied the relationship between price and demand. In this chapter, we will study the extent of relationship. What do you mean by extent of relationship? It means that when the price falls, the demand changes. But what is the amount of change? How much change is what is called elasticity of demand. कितना ज़्यादा change, or you can say when the price falls, the demand increases, but how much? Okay, so measuring the responsiveness. Okay, now we'll study with the concept. Let us see. Elasticity of demand refers to the degree of responsiveness. Degree of responsiveness means what is the amount of respond or what is the amount of change. Okay, elasticity of demand refers to the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of a commodity to change in any of its determinants, namely price of the commodity, price of other commodity, and income of the consumer. So when you study the chapter elasticity of demand, they are studying the responsiveness or how the quantity reacts to the change in any of these three. So suppose I take an example. Suppose the price changes by 10%. Suppose the price changes by 10% and the demand changes by 80%. Again, I'm repeating. Suppose the price changes by 10% and the demand changes by 80%. There's a huge change in demand. So we say that demand is elastic. It is measuring that when the price changes by 10%, as a result the demand changes by 80%. So we conclude that there is a lot change in demand because of the change in price. The amount of change is what is called elasticity of demand. Okay, so the amount that changed is what is called elasticity of demand. 80% is the change. Okay, so when we study the elasticity of demand chapter, we study that how much is the change, 80%, 70%, 60%. What is the change in the quantity demanded when these three factors change? Okay, first is the price of the commodity, the most common factor. Second is price of other commodity. Now when we talk about other commodity, there are two kind of commodity. One is substitute good and one is complementary goods. We have studied price of other related goods. So this is what is called price of other commodity, and last one is income of the consumer. So because of the change of these three factors, price of the commodity, price of other commodity, income of the consumer, how does the quantity demanded react, or how much is the change? In demand chapter, we have studied the relationship between various factors and demand. Here we are studying that relationship is there between the factors, but what is the amount of change, or what is the extent of change? Kitna zyada change? 80%, 70%, or 60%? With this, we move on to the next concept, that is types of elasticity of demand. When we talk about the change, let me tell you, in this chapter the most important term is elastic demand. In elastic demand, these terms will be used interchangeably, and when we are talking about these three terms, price elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, we are talking about the change. We are talking about the change in quantity demanded because of these three factors. Okay, in the last slide you have seen there are three factors: price of other commodity, price of the commodity, price of other commodity, and income of the consumer. In the next slide you will see all those three factors have come up as type. Okay, what is the amount of change in quantity demanded due to change in price is called price elasticity of demand. Okay, what is the amount or extent of change in quantity demanded due to change in price is called price elasticity of demand. What is the amount or extent of change due to other commodities, that is price of other related goods, substitute goods and complementary goods, that is termed as cross elasticity of demand. And what is the extent of change, kitna zyada change, what is the amount of change in quantity demanded because of income is called income elasticity of demand. Okay, so in your syllabus they have focused much on price elasticity of demand. Cross and income is also there in your syllabus, but this is the concept, price elasticity of demand, that is discussed in much detail in the ISC Council syllabus. Now we move on to the next concept, that is price elasticity of demand. This is the last concept for this particular module. We'll be doing in details. Okay, this is just an introduction of the chapter, so I don't want to rush with the portion. Price elasticity of demand, let us do the meaning of it. Okay, you can see price elasticity of demand is defined as the degree of responsiveness. This becomes the key word, degree of responsiveness. Okay, what is degree of responsiveness? Again I'm saying the extent of change, how much change. If the price falls by 10%, the quantity demanded increases by 50%, there is some extent of change. What is the extent of change? 50%, 50%. So elasticity of demand measures the extent of change or degree of responsiveness. Okay, keyword, degree of responsiveness. It may be defined as the degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of a commodity in response to a change in the price. Now this is E. P is on the foot of E. P is bit small and it will come a little down. Okay, EP, E denotes elasticity of demand and P denotes price. So this becomes price elasticity of demand. EP is price elasticity of demand. Okay, price elasticity of demand is denoted by EP. What is the formula? Percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So using this formula we calculate the elasticity of demand. Always remember, whatever may be the question, okay, change in quantity demanded comes in the numerator and percentage change in price comes in the denominator. Again I am repeating, change in quantity demanded, percentage change comes in numerator and percentage change in price will come in denominator. Okay, now Again, I'm repeating the same example. What is elasticity of demand or price elasticity of demand? Suppose the price falls by 10%. The demand increases by 50%. 50%. Here we are measuring the extent of change in demand because of change in price. So what is the extent? What is the amount of change? Amount of change is 50%. So elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness or the extent of change. With this, I complete the module 1 of elasticity of demand. Thank you, students.